Welcome in to episode number 22 of our TCW Save and TW 2020. This is the state of TCW for April 2020. So 3 pay-per-views in now. Hope you guys enjoyed Battleground. A lot of great feedback on that show. Definitely my most enjoyable show, I think, yet to book with all the stuff that we have there. And now we head towards the next pay-per-view, which will be Where Angels Fear to Tread. That is a mouthful, but that is our next pay-per-view. And then, of course, after that, we get to Total Mayhem. So that is the road starts now for that next pay-per-view, which, again, I think will be a little bit more of the Clash of the Champions-esque style. But, again, it'll be kind of the go-home pay-per-view before Total Mayhem, our biggest show of the year. But this is the state of TCW for now. And as we see here, we kind of alluded to this at the end of the Battleground pay-per-view. We have expanded into big now. We have officially made it there by reaching 77 in at least 5 of the mainland regions in America. And so now we are on the road to large is what we are aiming for to do that. We have achieved big size and then also get 71 throughout Canada or Mexico. Canada, we'll get there, but we're still a little ways off. As we know, we do have coverage there now. We've had it since early on in the save. Mexico, far away from that. So we'll have a little ways to go to get there. So we have made it to big, and we are going to be in the, what is it called? The warming up phase. Yeah. So currently exempt for the next 28 days in terms of area battles and all that. So we've got all those perks added in from just rising to big. But we knew we'd get there pretty quickly just by putting in some of the different ideas and storylines that I knew would help us get good ratings, basically. So we have gotten there to this point, and here we are still third in the world. SWF is at number 2, of course. USPW is still at 1. 21CW doing some great things still. So not about, again, this will get more exciting as we get about a year into the save and all that, where things may start to change a bit. But for now, everything kind of the same except for us moving forward into that. So, all right, let's, as we said, the event schedule we've already looked at, Where Angels Fear to Tread will be our next pay-per-view at the end of April. We'll get to the popularity ratings and all that stuff here in just a second. I'm trying to remember now. I feel like it's been so long since we've done one of these, just because it was a very wild booking month of March, getting ready for the pay-per-view. But I guess to look at the titles, nothing's really changed. Greg Gage now 13 successful title defenses with the TV title, beat Bart Biggins at Battleground. So still your television champion. There is Greg Gage. World Heavyweight Champion, still Aaron Andrews, successfully defended against none other than Freddie Huggins at Battleground. So 5 successful title defenses now for him, and he is still our champ. And Mighty Mo and Tana, still our tag team champions since they won it from Killer Shark and Titan at Malice and Wonderland. They've been our chance for 57 days. 2 successful title defenses. So not a lot of title defenses so far, but as we remember, it was Eddie Peak and Tana one-on-one at Battleground. So more to come with that. We have a clear group of challengers for their tag team championships, as you saw at Battleground. So that is where things are on that. All right, we'll go to the creative section here. Still, your franchise players are these 4 here. And, again, that's not really changed. And we kind of look at it here, and I'm not going to pull up some of this other stuff because I don't want to, again, perhaps spoil anything that may be out there. Hint, hint. So I'm not gonna pull any of this other stuff up, but I am gonna pull up just kind of looking at, again, these 4 are still the top 4. As it was noted in the comments, I thought it was kind of fun to end Battleground with our 4 pillars here: Wolf, Jay Cord, Sammy Bach, and Aaron Andrews. And so, looking at the momentum, I think is always good to do, kind of in the state of. So, do no wrong for these 4, which it does include T-Bone, who, as we know, T-Bone has been on the rise since the start of our save, really since show 1, when everything kind of kicked off with, him accepting the open challenge from Freddie, or maybe that was show 2, I don't remember exactly. But so all these guys with huge momentum, doesn't surprise you, right? These are the guys who have been featured the most in terms of what their stories have been and all that. Who's not? Here's the good news. The good news is that Bart Biggins has moved off of this, because before Battleground, Bart Biggins was in the Who's Not category. He's off of that, but our friends Troy Tornado, Eddie Peak, still in the Who's Not in terms of momentum. So not a lot of momentum, but we know Troy Tornado got a big tag team win with Ernest Youngman at the pay-per-view. Eddie Peake got a big singles win, so maybe they are moving forward on that. So that's just a quick look at the creative section. Finances, I always forget to look at that, but you can see our finances, $14,269,778 currently on tap here. Our performance, so it's kind of gone down a little bit each month to this point, but the reason for that is because our worker costs have gone up a little bit each month. So, and we know why that is. This is that I've signed Angry Gilmore. He was not cheap. There are some other, perhaps, new people that could be joining in the future. I won't give anything away on that, but perhaps. I'm not saying it's official, but perhaps there are some new people who could be joining the roster in the future. So you can kind of see that. Remember, we did a big upgrade on our production costs and all that in terms to keep up with our competitors or whatever it is that you get from that. So you can kind of see how that's changed a little bit too. That's been our most significant increase since the first month. So finances are doing fine. We're not losing money. That's all I care about. So doing just fine in terms of the money right now. Storylines, as we said, we haven't really updated these a ton, but if you just kind of want to see what the heat is on some of these, Andrews Hawkins, 87 for this one. Jay Cord against the world, 85 for this one. The old friends with Doc Hammond and One Man Army, 70 there. We haven't really done a whole lot. I didn't even update this with Bart Biggins. So, again, that's my own fault. Where's the beef? This has been going on probably the longest, I guess, outside of just the Wolf and Aaron Andrews stuff. But 72, so really good stuff, actually, if you look at this from the Center Society and Mighty Meaty. So, yeah, all the storylines are clicking right now. And, again, some that I haven't even added to the mix yet that probably should be on there is where it's at. So, all right, let me think of if there's anything else exciting. I feel like I always forget to look at different stuff that I usually do in this, but I think those are kind of the big things for this one, guys. Like I said, this will get a lot more in depth as we move longer into the save, but there's really not many changes to note to this point. I guess if we want to quickly, before we go to the popularity ratings, we want to look at what USPW is doing. They've made some hirings. They're just doing their thing, right? If you look at kind of where they're at right now, you can look at their show history, 86. They do great stuff. There's no reason to go through all these, but you can kind of look at what their feuds are. Rich Money and Nikki Champion battling over the USPW World Heavyweight Championship, Running Wolf and Trent Schaefer. So those are just kind of added into the mix there. If you're curious about what they're doing at the moment, size-wise for them, 81 across the board. In America, of course, they're already at large because you look at where they are. They're actually more popular in Canada right now than they are in America, Mexico. So, yeah, they're just a monster, as we know. I mean, they are everywhere. They have a ton of popularity everywhere in the game world. So we will not be catching USPW anytime soon. So that is certainly worth noting. You can see their top events. Liberty and Justice from March did an 86, so we've still done a lot better from an event standpoint, rating-wise, but look at their matches. We've also kind of been okay with their matches, but, I guess that's, really the only notable thing, and we're not going to catch number one, so it's just not happening anytime soon. So, all right, let's get to the fun part. This is the part that's always the most intriguing with the state of, and that is looking at the popularity ratings for the top workers to see how they progressed. All right, so I am going to have to filter these once again, which I will have to try to figure out how to filter these to keep certain wrestlers out of sight here, which you understand why. But we have our 4 pillars here as our top 4 major stars. They're the only 4 in this category, so we can look at where they're at right now. Aaron Andrews, our world champion, 85s, so really just increased by 1 in Hawaii from March to April, but yeah, he is in the 85s here across the board for that. Jay Cord, he has white-hot momentum right now, which he should. The 29-year-old, you want to talk about a boost? He has jumped up quite a bit, and we know why. He was a main attraction throughout the month of March, and he jumps up to the 80s here, 82 in the Northwest. So Jay Cord's rise will not be denied at this point. Sammy Bach also, I think, has made a bit of a jump here. Yeah, so Sammy Bach up to 84s here. So all of our top guys, they are moving in the right direction. Wolf, as you see here, also now in the 85 tier. So it didn't really jump up from March to April, but it's fine. It's Wolf. He is going to be just fine. So yeah, our top 4, there's a reason why we've built around these 4 guys in terms of all of our main storylines. And so, yeah, these guys are doing Fantastic. All right, let's get to the next group, which I'm sure I'm going to have to filter to keep someone out of this. All right, so the first group of the filter here, let's look at this group, and then we're going to add a couple more to the mix after I filter it again by age, which is what I have to do here to keep certain people out of the mix. So Freddie Huggins, our star. I mean, this guy has been, as I said in the comments, he's been one of the MVPs of our series thus far. One of my most enjoyable workers to book. Freddie takes a big jump from March to April, and he should have because he was in the world title match and performed very well, as we know. Put together a tremendous match with Aaron Andrews, 87 they got for that. So Freddie's jumped up a few in terms of popularity, still only 35, so Freddie's rise also will not be denied for the arrogant jerk himself, Freddie Huggins. Joshua Taylor has not lost a match in decades at this point. In all honesty, he's actually just not lost 9 matches. He's had a 9-match winning streak to this point in our save, and so we really played that up, as we know, and that's resulted in a little bit of a popularity boost, just one, so not a ton, but he hasn't really had anything to really sink his teeth into just yet. From a storyline standpoint, that is going to change as soon as the next edition of Total Wrestling. So, yeah, that will change soon. So for all the Joshua Taylor fans out there, his storyline really starts now. And again, I think it's kind of fine just to use the first couple months just building someone up with wins. And that's kind of what we did with Joshua Taylor coming off the loss at Psycho Circus, which is kind of the story that we played with him. Mighty Mo, one of our also young stars who will be the future of the company for sure. Mo kind of staying in that same point, but he's not really had many singles matches, and it's really just been all tag for those guys with Mighty Mo and Tana. So, but then there's T-Bone, and T-Bone we know has been one of the biggest jumps of anybody in our series. Started at 51 in January. He has reached a 70 mark now in the Mid-Atlantic and Southwest regions. So T-Bone's rise also will not be denied at this point. 30 years old, a star in the making is the powerhouse T-Bone. All right, time to filter again. All right, the next group. Angry Gilmore, who, of course, joined, had his debut match, was successful in his debut match, beating J Cord at Battleground. So if you're kind of just looking at where Angry Gilmore is, one of the things I was excited about was the Arch Competitor gimmick. Got a great rating off the bat that really helped. But so you can see where he's at, and the reason for this slide was going back and looking at it. I think SWF was kind of jobbing him out on the way out because he lost just a couple matches that he had no business losing. So they were definitely trying to job him out, I think, but just his performance at Battleground jumps him up to a 77 here, 78 in some regions. So, yeah, popularity not an issue for Angry Gilmore, although, as we said, declining physical ability. Join the club, right? Everybody has declining physical ability on this roster, it seems. So a huge signing, and he will continue to be a key part of our roster until he retires. So, which at that point, he'll probably be a Rose agent because he's got all the good stuff. Kyle Rhodes, who we just keep using in the, kind of Vince McMahon ringside, in-ring interview capacity. I mean, it's helping popularity-wise because he's up to a 73 now, and which he was there last month. But that's why we kind of keep Kyle Rhodes in that spot. And, of course, we've had him in more interesting spots recently with J Cord and such. But, yeah, we're kind of using Kyle Rhodes in the Vince McMahon mid-90s, early 80s type role. So I was actually watching, I know, guys, this goes way back, but I was watching an edition of WWF Championship Wrestling from 1980, and it was I was seeing Vince McMahon interview Larry Zbyszko and all this stuff, and kind of reminded me of the role I want to use Kyle Rhodes for. It's that similar type of role, and that's what we've been using him for. But like I said, too, it's also kind of the WCW Clash of Champions style where you have whoever come into the ring, interviewing different guys. And then there's One Man Army, 42 years old, as we know, coming off a hard-fought loss to Doc Hammond at Battleground. And we look at the popularity here for him. So, yeah, he's kind of stayed the same, which is not surprising. He's kind of had some ups and downs yet so far since his return. But so One Man Army there in the upper 60s as well. All right, let's get to the next group. All right, so Ed Stone, and I did have to do a filter here as well. Ed Stone, 62's here. Ed Stone came off of a win against Maverick at the pay-per-view, so he's jumped up a little bit. Someone else you'll see start to get a bit more involved storyline-wise, which I know he hasn't been outside of the Freddie Huggins thing since he returned, but we will see Ed Stone get a lot more involved here in the future. Did want to bring up Elizabeth Cartier, who we did sign from USPW This is one I'm really not, that upset to give away, just because I don't think as of right now it's anything significant. But she is someone we did sign for a manager role, so you may see her make her way in. And look, she was very cheap to sign, so I was looking at sort of just the charisma, microphone skills, acting. Obviously, the sex appeal doesn't hurt. The star quality, those things. So we did bring her in as someone we may use in the future, but I don't really think this is spoiling a whole lot because you don't know who she's going to manage. So that's the bigger part of this. So I'm at least going to give that one to you guys. All right, Greg Gage, someone who we know as well is doing a lot of good things, the TV champion. He continues to make the jump, made the huge jump from month 1 to month 2, but now up to the 62 range. My guess is that will keep going up very quickly based on what we have in store for him. Killer Shark, probably not a lot has changed because we haven't used, the behemoths very much over the past month. We've kind of focused in on Eddie Peak and that part of the story. But there's no reason to look here at Laura Catherine Huggins because she probably hasn't changed very much on that. Popularity, Matt Hawking is continuing to go up. So the pairing with Freddie Huggins is working in terms of keeping him in some popularity boosting spots. So that's working well. Just like we said with Killer Shark, I'm not even going to look at Titan 61s. I can't imagine that's changed any. And then Vita is the manager for Ed Stone, who we've really not used a whole lot, but she also has some really good skills. So it is something that, I should probably think about ways to tie her in maybe into the Ed Stone part of things, but we'll see how that goes. All right, another filter coming. Okay, so a pretty big group here with Bart Biggins. Looking at him, we've given him a little bit more of a push, so he jumps up one, not a whole lot on that. Benny Benson at 60s pretty much across the board, so he's back to where he started. Chance Fortune, I can't imagine, has done a whole lot. He hasn't really been, well, I guess he jumped up a little bit, but I mean, he's been in matches with Wolf and all that. So Dazzling Dave hasn't done a whole lot since that TV title loss, so he's kind of stuck where he's at the moment. Doc Hammond's an interesting one. He picked up a little bit of a boost from that win over One Man Army, so up into the high 60s. Now for him, Eddie Chandler, one half of the elite. They continue to make kind of a gradual push forward. Eddie Peak, I'm curious what the win against Tana did for him. So yeah, that did pretty well actually. 3 on a popularity boost for him. Flying Jimmy Fox, who's been involved with the Youngman Tornado stuff. So Flying Jimmy's just gone up and down here for him. Human Arsenal, John Anderson, 64, so he lost to Joshua Taylor in a good match. Nate Johnson, we're just kind of going through these guys quickly because these are the guys a little further down. But yeah, just like Chandler, Johnson's getting a little bit of a boost. Tana, I can't imagine has changed too much here. Tana actually lost probably because of the loss to Eddie Peak. Troy Tornado, as we said, he's annoyed and all that too, but he did get back up a little bit after that tag team win with Ernest Youngman. Speaking of Ernest Youngman, I know that's the next group we want to get to, so let me get to his group here. Actually, I take that back. He's going to be in the next group because he's still not up to the well-known level. There's not really any here that I want to look at except for Daryl Devine because I think he's the only one of any that's been involved in significant stuff. So even that, I mean, it's not like he's won a ton of matches. So trying to see if there's anyone else here. There's really not. No one else in this group. So let's get to Ernest Youngman. All right, so I've just filtered this down to Elliot Thomas and Ernest Youngman. You guys don't care about Elliot Thomas. I apologize, but let's look at Ernest Youngman because he's still, not quite where we need him to be in a huge role. But yes, he got a little bit of a boost just from getting the pin over Flying Jimmy Fox in that tag team match at Battleground. So still a long way to go for Ernest Youngman, but we're trying to stay creative, and that's why we put him in the tag team match with Troy Tornado so that we can kind of put him in positions to succeed because otherwise people just aren't putting him over in singles matches right now because he's just not there yet. So we have to stay creative there. And so I think we've got kind of the next evolution of how we're going to boost his popularity coming up over the next couple months. But for now, we still got a ways to go with Ernest Youngman to get there. So there you go. That is a look at the popularity ratings. Always, again, I think the most interesting part of the state of. And so, that's where we're at with TCW right now. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hope you guys continue to enjoy this series and check out all the other stuff. It's fun for me to see some of you guys in the comments saying, hey, I've enjoyed the TCW series. I'm actually going and watching your WWE series now, which, again, that's kind of like, that's my number one, like in terms of that's what kind of, started the channel. We have 100 plus episodes in that series. And so even though I haven't added any new episodes recently, there are still 100 plus episodes. If you're new to it and you want to go back through, that's plenty of content to enjoy there in terms of all the twists and turns of our WWE series in that one. So a lot of the same principles used in that we use in the TCW save, just with a lot more kind of WWE sports entertainment style wackiness at times. So yeah, that's kind of what we go with on that. So yeah, if you want to check that out, you can check out everything else we have on the channel. The AEW save, 20 something episodes into that one. Although again, I haven't done that one in a while. But yeah, we've got some fun stuff in the works still. Some new series, as I said, I've already recorded new episodes for. I just haven't released them yet because I wanted to kind of be the right time to build a low momentum with those series. And so yeah, we will do that soon enough, both Real World and Seaverse series. And yeah, but we're still rolling right along with TCW here. And so on the next episode of our TCW save, it will be Total Wrestling for April, week 1.